Duduzane Zuma engages ambassadors and business leaders, asserts ambition for presidency. Hello and welcome to Hot 263. Duduzane Zuma engages ambassadors and business leaders, asserts ambition for presidency. Duduzane Zuma, the son of former South African President Jacob Zuma, has been making waves in political circles with his recent engagements with ambassadors, businessmen, and high-profile politicians. Sources reveal that Duduzane has been actively introducing himself as a contender for the presidency of South Africa, positioning himself as a prominent figure in the country's political landscape. In a series of meetings with ambassadors from various countries, Duduzane has reportedly discussed his vision for South Africa's future and outlined his policy proposal. Presenting himself as a candidate with a firm grasp of economic and social issues, Duduzane has sought to garner support and build alliances among influential figures on the international stage. One notable encounter was with Nigerian top politician Atiku Abubakar, where discussions centered on South African politics and the upcoming presidential elections. This meeting underscores Duduzane's efforts to forge connections with influential figures both domestically and internationally, signaling his aspirations for political leadership. Duduzane's emergence as a political or potential presidential candidate comes at a time of heightened political uncertainty in South Africa, with the ruling African National Congress facing internal divisions and public scrutiny. As the son of a former president, Duduzane enjoys name recognition and a network of political allies, factors that could bolster his candidacy in a crowded field of contenders. However, Duduzane's ambitions have also sparked controversy and raised questions about the role of dynastic politics in South Africa's democratic process. Critics argue that his candidacy represents a continuation of the Zuma family's hold on power and could undermine efforts to promote transparency and accountability in government. Despite this criticism, Duduzane remains undeterred in his pursuit of political office, actively engaging with stakeholders, outlining his vision for the country's future. His willingness to engage in dialogue with ambassadors and business leaders demonstrates a proactive approach to diplomacy and governance, positioning him as a potential influential figure in South African politics. As the nation prepares for the next presidential election, all eyes will be on Duduzane Zuma as he navigates the complexities of the political landscape and seeks to realize his ambitions for leadership. Whether he can translate his aspirations to electoral success remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: Duduzane is determined to make his mark on the South African politics. Jacob Zuma invited to attend 6.5 million rand SONA. More than 400 people expected to attend the annual event on Thursday evening. Mapisa Ngakula says former President Jacob Zuma has been invited to attend this year's State of the Nation address, which could cost nearly 7 million rands. The 2024 SONA will be hosted at the Cape Town City Hall, with more than 400 people expected to attend the annual event on Thursday. Mapisa Ngakula said all preparations are in order for President Cyril Ramaphosa to deliver his SONA speech. The speaker highlighted the importance of this year's event as it marked South Africa's 30 years of democracy and the final SONA of the current parliamentary 5-year term. Currently, as we prepare for this SONA, we are also engaging in extensive preparation for both the opening of the 7th Parliament and for welcoming the new generation of members of Parliament, she said. She indicated that, alongside Zuma, special guests such as former President Thabo Mbeki, Kgalema Motlanthe, as well as National Assembly Speaker Baleka Mbete, Chief Justice Zondo, and Deputy Chief Justice Maya, among others, have been invited to the event. All attendees include members of Parliament, and invited guests will be physically present in both the chamber and the public gallery. Approximately 490 members of Parliament and representatives of South African Local Government Association will be seated in the chamber, Mapisa Ngakula explained. The speaker confirmed the Cape Town City Hall which has been designated as the parliamentary precinct, will also host the two-day debate on the President's address, featuring a joint sitting of the National Assembly and National Council of Provinces. Ramaphosa's reply to the debate and the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godogwana's budget speech, scheduled to a few days later, will also take place at the same venue. Mapisa Ngakula further highlighted that new rules introduced to regulate proceedings during joint sittings of the National Assembly and the NICOP, with the primary aim of maintaining order, will be implemented for the first time during SONA. She said the rules were essential step in ensuring that the parliamentary proceedings were conducted with respect and seriousness they deserve. In terms of the new rules, no member is allowed to interrupt the president while delivering the State of the Nation address. Similarly, interruptions are prohibited during the president's speech at the opening of parliament, Mapisa Ngakula said. The speaker added, these measures are critical in ensuring that these important national events are conducted in an orderly and respectful manner, reflecting the dignity of Parliament and the importance of these addresses in setting the nation's legislative and developmental agenda. The new rules follows the disruption by the economic freedom fighters during the last year's SONA. The EFF members, including party leader Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu and Buyiseni Dlozi, were forcefully removed from the National Assembly after trying to storm the City Hall stage. NICOP chairperson Amos Masondo, however, clarified that the rules were not meant for the EFF or any other political party. The decorum is responsibility for all of us as members of Parliament, whether one is in the National Council of Provinces or the National Assembly. For Parliament to succeed in its work, we need a greater collaborative effort, and indeed, in working together, there is so much that can be done and achieved, he said. Attendance budget. On whether all former presidents had accepted the invitation, Musondo said, we expect all the people who are mentioned to be present and be part of the processes. Meanwhile, Secretary of Parliament Tsotlile George said, the special guests have confirmed receipts of their invitations. We look forward to receiving those who will be able to make it. George told reporters. George revealed that 6.5 million rands had been budgeted for SONA, will be able, as a standard measure after the event, to have a fully reconciled figure on how much was spent on the event.